With me now is telecom specialist Dave McQueen, principal analyst at Informa Telecoms and Media. Let's just pick up on that point then. Has Apple passed its peak?
No, not at all. I don't think so. That last quarter, probably a blip for its iPhone. People were waiting for iPhone 5, but it wasn't as iPhone 4S came out. So I expect the quarter leading up to Christmas to be very, very good for iPhone.
And really that's what many analysts are saying, isn't it? That it has nothing to do with the fundamentals of this company, with the growth that it could still enjoy. It's actually more to do with the timing of the latest iPhone 4S release. And so with that in mind, do you think they're going to make up this sales shortfall very easily in the next few months?
Exactly. I mean, it's been another quarter on since last year, so 15 months on since iPhone 4 released. So people are waiting in their contracts to come out, and you've just seen by the first weekend, was it 4 million sold in a weekend? And plus what Apple are also doing, they're hitting more mass market, so they're keeping the 3GS and the 4 in market, hitting sort of different types of segments and targeting other operators, because don't forget, they've also now got another operator in the US market that's selling their devices.
Right, so what does this mean then going forward? I mean, I'm just wondering, just taking a look at those after hours price, you can see, you know, down almost 5.5% there. Why is that an overreaction? And if so, why?
Yes, well, because they didn't hit what all the analysts thought they would hit. But I think next quarter, I think they'll overachieve, I think, on what the analysts think. It's just been that blip in iPhone sales, which is the lead revenue generator for them, and margin. It slipped a quarter. I'm not quite sure why that was necessarily, but that's been kept up by iPad sales and sales of the Mac. So there's a bit of balance going on there with sort of rebalance with the iPhone, but at the higher end. Perhaps,
yeah, but I suppose it does underscore the importance of the iPhone to Apple, given that it accounted for what 39% of revenue last quarter.
and that's probably part of the issue, is that the high end, the iPhone, as we know it, the best in class for that particular year of release, is reaching probably some level of maturity, like the guy said earlier. But they're also targeting, say, this lower end. I mean, the 3GS is now free on contract in the US. You know, that targets a whole different market.
And that's the sort of thing that they should be doing to sustain their performance?
Absolutely, I think.
And how much of an advantage does that give them over their rivals?
Well, it helps bring a price point that will serve a different type of market segment. So hitting Google, where Google are playing at the moment, in that sort of lower cost or lower tier. And Apple have done it without actually launching, you know, the iPhone Nano. They've not launched a different product to hit a different market, a different price point. They just kept the old ones in market. And
of course, you mentioned iPad sales there, Dave, and we're talking about 11.12 million, so that sets a record, doesn't it? I suppose, what does this tell us? That Apple is very successfully fending off competition from the likes of Samsung and Research in Motion and various other people, HTC more specifically?
For the time being, yes. I mean, next year might be fairly crucial in iPad or the whole tablet market, but I think iPad will still be #1 seller, but Android, I think you mentioned the ice cream sandwich operating system, it creates a better ecosystem between smartphones and tablets for Android that iPhone have had for years now, Apple had on their products for years. So Android, perhaps next year, may be a more explosion of tablet-type devices matched with high-end smartphones, creating demand there.
So this ice cream sandwich positions them well to take Apple on. We could be seeing a different story when it comes to tablet sales this time next year?
Exactly. In a wider, unified ecosystem, I think that does help Android, which stuttered before.
And I'm just wondering about Amazon.com debuting its new Kindle-Fire tablet as well. And so what is that going to mean for Apple?
Very good question, but I suggest it would be probably a different tier of segment. So again, it comes down to pricing. It's what $199 in the US. Apple, the iPad, sorry, is more $500, $600, depending on what type of device you get. So the Amazon, the Kindle Fire, it's hitting a different sort of market. I think perhaps people are coming out of perhaps using an e-reader, looking to do broader things with it.
So it's a slightly different audience.
I think a different audience, yeah. I think people don't buy the iPad because they want a tablet. They buy an iPad because they want the iPad. I think that's what it comes down to.
Dave McQueen, principal analyst at Informa Telecoms and Media. Thank you very much.